Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
Right, turn off the lights. We gonna lose our minds tonight. What's the dealio? I love when it's all too much. 5 a.m. turn the radio up. Where's the rock and roll? Party crasher, penny snatcher. Call me up if you are gangster. Don't be fancy, just get dancing. Why so serious? So raise your glass if you are wrong. And all the raise all my underdogs. We will never be anything but loud. And really pretty, dirty little freaks. You come on and raise your glass. Just come on and raise your glass.
Hey, everybody. It is Emperor 22 Vu coming to you on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hope you'll raise a glass with me and enjoy a beautiful Sunday afternoon with us. You may be wondering why I am here introducing the show. And I want to first and foremost give a shout out to my beautiful, amazing, lovely, talented Empress, Miss Frank, who is feeling a little bit under the weather today. But the show must go on. We are going to move forward, but we want to wish her lots of love. So if you are here in the comments, please shoot out a message to my beautiful Empress, Miss Frank, and let's hope that she is doing better. This is CT Connection. It is a routine Sunday afternoon talk show that we have with the Imperial Sovereign Court of all Connecticut. It was started by my beautiful Empress, Miss Frank, as Miss Frank and Friends. And when we started the reign, she was kind enough to invite me along for the ride. And we're so happy to be with you here today. It's all about highlighting community near and far, introducing you to some amazing folks here in Connecticut, introducing you to our beneficiaries, especially today because we have some special guests from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention coming up. And all along the way, we're also going to be raising money for charity. So let's have a good time today. First and foremost, want to give a great shout out to our producer, Patrick J. Dunn, aka Monarch Kiki Lucia, who is running everything behind the scenes. None of this happens unless she is back there doing her thing. So thank you once again, Kiki. And once again, we are raising money for charity. So if you want to give a donation, there are 2 ways to do so. Oh, look. Hey, my Emperor is doing such an amazing job. Oh, my goodness. I didn't realize that she was watching. Hi, Empress, Miss Frank. We miss you. We love you. We can't wait for you to be back for the next episode. But we are raising money for charity. So if you want to give, there's 2 ways to do so. You can Venmo at CT Imperial Court, or you can go to ctimperialcourt.org/donate, and you can donate there via credit card, PayPal, whatever you have. Without any further ado, I do have a special guest for this episode, and please let me welcome the producer of Cal's Community Corner, Lord Cal Robert Edwards. Hey, Kyle.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing so well. Thank you for stepping in.
Of course.
So I just want to give some shout outs to some amazing people that we have. So we have Bella Rose Reynolds Deluxe. We know her. We love her. Hey, Bella. Bella just joined the Imperial Sovereign Court of all Connecticut. She's Empress 3 of the Imperial Court of Western Mass. We love having her here. She always supports so much. Zin Carla, we see you out there. Carla is doing some balloon decorations for an event that we have coming up that we're going to mention later. Katarina Archer, always a big support to us. So thank you so much to everyone watching today. So let's introduce the beneficiaries. How about it, Kyle? So our first beneficiary is A Place to Nourish Your Health. They an organization based out of New Haven. They started their work with the HIV/AIDS community, but they've expanded to so much more. They do nutritional health, behavioral health, case management. You name it, they do it surrounding health and benefiting your life. So our first beneficiary, APNH, Mind, Body, and Spirit.
Our second beneficiary is the New Haven Pride Center, located right in New Haven as well. A beautiful group of people that has devoted their entire mission to the community. They offer casework. They have a clothes pantry. They also offer food and resources. If you need some help, please reach out to New Haven Pride Center. They are only there to help you.
And our final beneficiary is the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention Connecticut chapter. Today's show will be addressing issues around mental health and suicide reduction. They're an organization in Connecticut that have been doing a great job in this area during the pandemic and before the pandemic. They did not take one day off. They did so many virtual events when we all went into quarantine alone by ourselves, some with support systems, some without support systems. So we just can't say enough about how many lives they've saved over the years that they've been an organization, and we are super excited to be raising money for all three of them. So please donate generously today. We hope that you get some great information out of today, and we hope that you can give. But if you can't, we know that it's a hard time for a lot of us out there. We just hope that you enjoy the show. All right. We do have another way to raise money, and we have a special auction today. And starting at $20, we, at the end of the show, are going to be auctioning off some Rain 22 swag. All right. So we have our Rain 22 t-shirts, which are no longer currently in print, but we did find one extra t-shirt out there. It's an extra large shirt. Unfortunately, that is the size that we have. So if it's you're an extra large, great and wonderful for you. If it's too big for you, wear it at night or give it to a friend. If it's too small for you, make it into a crop top or give it to a friend. We are thinking about re-releasing these shirts for purchase later on in the rain. So if you think that's something that we should do, pop us a note in the comments and maybe we'll be reopening these for sale. But there is an extra large t-shirt for auction off today. And a very limited edition. These are not coming back. I do feel like a QVC worker. A Rain 22 water bottle, which there were only like 15 of these made related to the Bike for a Life challenge. So these are super rare. They are not coming back. They were a small batch special order. So if you wanted some Rain 22 swag, you can get it today. It's going to be at the end of the show, so stick around to the end, starting at $20. Do you have Rain 22 swag, Kyle?
I'm actually already going to bid on that, so I bid 25 already. So.
Oh, okay. So you're going to get your swag today. All right. So y'all, now you have to beat out Kyle. It was just going to be difficult because Kyle runs part of the auction, but I'm going to make sure that it's fair. We're going to make sure that it's fair. March or October. We're in October. God, we're in October.
Already.
I feel
already
like
had to bring my houseplants inside because I'm afraid the frost is going to get them.
So people, they gift me houseplants and I have no idea why. Because I'm awful at them. And I am so awful at them. The last person to give me a houseplant was this beautiful person named Cynthia, and she said, so if it starts to die, let me know and I will take it back and then I'll give it back to you. So I'm infamous for killing houseplants. So I'm glad that you are a better green thumb than I.
I will take all your houseplants. Please don't be a plant killer.
No, I'm really trying not to. But I have easy plants. I have like bamboo and a money tree, so it's all good. But okay. October, we're on October 3rd through 9th is Mental Health Awareness Week. We are so excited to be ending out the week with this important conversation today with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, along with special guests around the field of mental health and suicide reduction. It's so important to talk about. It's so important to talk about. We need to remove the stigma about talking about mental health. It is a sign of strength. It is not a sign of weakness. So if you need to talk to someone, we're going to give you some resources today. Do it because you matter. You are valuable in this world. Protect your mental health. We're going to have a conversation about it throughout the show today, but definitely wanted to give a shout out to that. And tomorrow, along with being Indigenous Persons Day, it's also National Coming Out Day. So happy pre-National Coming Out Day, Kyle.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to come out again tomorrow.
You're going to come out again tomorrow? Anyone special or just like in general?
Just in general.
Just in general. I mean, it's important sometimes. Just to like reaffirm.
I will say with my partner Patrick, it has been a lot easier coming out to more being of myself. So I do appreciate him for that. So I guess tomorrow's gonna be more of a time for me to continue my journey of being free. I guess that's lack of words. Yeah.
I mean, it's such a great day to celebrate because it's really all about people being their most authentic selves and being able to share that with other people. But I will say that so National Coming Out Day for me, at least when I went to UConn, it was a huge thing. It was like one of like the top 2 or 3 LGBTQ campus events that we did in college. And I remember having this friend that would be so sad about it every year. And we had a conversation about it. And it's because that they didn't feel comfortable coming out. And, you know, that's the reality for a lot of people. And that doesn't make your story or your experience any less valuable. I mean, we all live in different times and circumstances and situations, and safety is of the utmost importance. So if you're in a situation where you don't feel comfortable coming out yet, that is okay. And there are still people out there that are going to support you, and you can come out in various different ways and to various different people. So just because you're not out to the world, don't worry about it. You know, if you want to message me or Cal and you want to come out to us as a stepping point, I can guarantee you that me and Cal will support you. And so will my Empress, Miss Frank, and our producer, Kiki Lucia. So celebrate Coming Out Day in whatever way feel comfortable for you. And don't let anyone tell you how you should be coming out.
Exactly. Celebrate yourself.
Celebrate yourself. So did you have fun last night, Kyle?
I had a blast last night. I did. It was very wide-ranging performances last night. We had something really creepy from Kiki Lucia, of course, all the way down to something really fun, such as Lamb Chop coming on stage. So it was absolutely adorable.
And where were you last night, Cal?
I was at the Shea,
You were at
the
the
best place in the world. Yes, the best mac and cheese in the world.
The best mac and cheese in the world. Yep. So last night we had our monthly bar night at the Shea Est. It was Nightmares and Dreamscapes, hosted by Lunatic Amore and Liam of Troy, and they did an amazing job. Like Kyle said, they cultivated an amazing show, raised over $1,200 for the rain. So kudos to them. Amazing job. And yeah, if you are in the Hartford area, definitely check out the Shea. As Kyle said, the mac and cheese is amazing. Kyle, how do you take your mac and cheese?
Crispy chicken.
Crispy
all
chicken.
The way. Only
Crispy
the way.
chicken all the way. I mean, you could get grilled, but it's already in a heaping pile of gooey, buttery cheese. But you know, if that makes you feel better than the grilled chicken, it's still just as delicious. I like to drizzle a little buffalo sauce over mine. Yep. Life hack. Try it out sometime. But yes, please support the Shea and all of our gay-owned businesses. We're excited that we now have a monthly drag bingo brunch the first Saturday of every month at the Black Rock Social House. So definitely support those locally gay-owned businesses, and because if we don't support them, then they might not be there the next time we want to go to them. So definitely go out and support. Next week is a big week. Do you have your ticket yet to the Monarchs Ball?
Of course I do. Why would I not?
Of course he does. And the audience, do you have your tickets to the Monarchs Ball, which is going to be happening October 16th at 6 p.m. at Real Artways. It is our first time being there, but hopefully it will not be our last because it's a beautiful space. They've been so amazing to work with. There will be art on the walls. Please don't touch it when you're there, but it will be there for all of us and to enjoy. There is a vaccination or testing requirement for this event, so be aware of that when you buy your ticket, that we will be asking for proof of vaccination at the door or a negative COVID test within 72 hours. And that is going to be enforced by the venue. So please, we want you to come out and hang out with us, but we also want everyone to be safe. It's going to be an amazing time. We have amazing performers from New York and Massachusetts and Rhode Island and a lot of our sister courts that we haven't seen in a long time, and we're looking forward to see them again. So those tickets are available online at imperialcourtct.ticketleap.com. Get yours today, and that is next weekend. That morning, we're going to be doing the Out of the Darkness walk for the AFSP, and we have one of their co-chairs that are going to be a guest later in the show, so you'll hear a little bit more about that later on. And just to close out this business section of the show, we do have to recognize the times that we are in right now. COVID-19 is still going on. I know it feels different in different places. I know there are certain towns in Connecticut where you can go on and feel like things are fairly normal and fairly comfortable, but the fight is not over. Please also be respectful of people's wishes and how people are dealing with going out or not going out or wearing a mask or choosing not to wear a mask. Everyone experiences these things differently. If you are able to get the vaccine, please do so. It is the only thing that will truly get us back to a place of normalcy. So please get those vaccines. There are too many of us dying. There are too many of us in the hospital. It doesn't have to be that way. So please do what you can. And on behalf of CT Connection, we just want to recognize all the people out there that have lost a loved one or that are struggling. So we're just going to take a brief moment of silence to recognize those folks. All right, thank you very much. Let's see, Stephen. So when an empress or emperor gets sick, what is the best thing to nurse them back to health? Sapphire diamonds or sapphire chicken soup? Get well soon, empress. I think Frank is watching. Frank, I'm gonna let you handle that one, whether diamonds or soup is gonna make you feel better. Kyle, what would be your answer if we could give you jewelry or soup to make you feel better?
I think it would be a little bit of both. I think it would be jewelry within the soup, actually. I think it would be both.
Jewelry in the soup. I'm not sure how we feel about that.
Oh yeah, I guess it could be.
That might be some like lead metal poisoning. Jewelry on the side of the soup. At the end of
there we go.
At the end of the spoon. Carla, if you are fully vaccinated, you do not need a test as well. It's or. Yep. So either proof of vaccination or a proof of a negative test. You do not need to have both. Great question. Thank you for asking. We have some great guests today, right, Kyle?
We do. We do have a lot of wonderful guests today.
So we are focusing around mental health and suicide reduction. So we do have two amazing guests that are going to be on throughout the show from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention Connecticut chapter. Once again, they are one of our beneficiaries that are saving the lives of people every single day by promoting education, by reducing stigma, by funding research. And we are so excited to have both the area director for Connecticut, Michelle Peters, along with one of their board members and one of the chairs for the Hartford Out of the Darkness Walk, Jen Navu. And we are so excited to be welcoming later on today. And Kyle, you have a special guest for Cal's Community Corner.
I do. I have Ahmed that's going to be joining us virtually for a show. Well, not virtually. I'm sorry. We have a pre-recorded session. Can you hear me? Sorry, I'm getting a little feedback.
I can hear you. You're good.
Okay. All right. Very good. We have Ahmed that's going to be joining us. They are somebody that has traveled the world, has had a lot of experience in mental health, and has also created a lot of different organizations that help support people who do have mental health requests as well. He also is a peer support specialist too, so we're definitely going to dive deep into kind of picking his brain about what he's seen around the world and what he could what they could recommend that we take back from other places and bring back here to kind of foster and get rid of shame and stigma.
Yeah, they have such a wealth of experience. So I do the marketing for CT Connection, and I remember when I received their bio to do the marketing posts, such an amazing wealth of knowledge, so many experiences to glean upon. I haven't seen the video interview yet, so I will be watching it along with everyone else and super excited for it. All right. Nachos. Don Houston just says nachos. I'm not sure if he's saying that that's a cure for illness as well, but Frank is not that kind of sick. She did not have the number of martinis that you had last night, Mr. Houston. But nachos are a great cure for that type of sickness. And now it's time for To Quote a Queer, a compendium of wit, wisdom, and devastating remarks. It is one of our regular segments on CT Connection. And Kyle, as our special co-host, I will pass it off to you for our first quote.
On Love by Truman Capote, an American writer. Love should be allowed. I'm all for it. Now that I've got a pretty good idea of what it is. Love is amazing.
That's deep. That's deep. It's important to know what love is and what love isn't.
It is.
You can fall in a lot of traps. That's a whole nother show and a whole nother segment. So my quote is on Talent by Terrence Minnelli, American playwright. I think anyone who is talented can have a career today. Whether they can have my career is a different story. Whether Kyle can have Frank's career is also a different story. But you are amazing co-host today, and we are happy to have you.
I can't touch Miss Frank. Miss Frank is amazing. So
I'm just glad
to grace the screen with you. That's all.
Don Houston nacho cures all. I mean, that could be an argument. It depends on the nachos, though. You know, nachos. I'm a very bare nacho person. Like just the cheese and a little bit of meat. Like I don't like too much fluff in my nachos. But
I love mine loaded. I will have jalapenos, sour cream. You put olives on that. I want beef. I want meat. I want chicken. All the above. But I'm very specific when it comes to cheese because certain fake cheese. Sorry, no, can't do it. The cheese.
Yeah. When cheese can last in your fridge for a year, y'all, that's probably not 100% cheese. But yeah, type us in the comments, simple or loaded. How do you like your nachos? End the debate. And with that, are you ready for our first guest?
I am.
All righty. So we are raising money for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention Connecticut chapter as part of our 3 amazing beneficiaries this year. So once again, if you like what you see and if you like what's going on in our conversation that's coming up, please consider giving a donation. You can do so via Venmo at CT Imperial Court, or you can go to ctimperialcourt.org/donate for other forms of payment. But without further ado, I would like to welcome to our virtual screen the area director for AFSP Connecticut, Michelle Peters.
Hello.
Hello, Michelle.
How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm sitting here now starving thanks to you guys. It's so amazing. I'm like so hungry. I'm thinking, oh, nachos. That sounds really good.
Nachos, mac and cheese, everything dairy. I hear that there's like a possibility that a lot of people like obtain lactose intolerant late in life, and I have no idea what my life would look like if that happened to me.
I know. I don't eat that much dairy, but I'll tell you, I'd make room for a good mac and cheese right now. So.
Right. So thank you so much for making time for us. I know you have family things going on today, and we really appreciate that you take time out of your mental health day in order to be with us, because it's so important for all of us to have those outlets for mental health in the world. I know before this presentation, I was on the Peloton for a 20-minute mental health ride. So that's all for me. Are you a Peloton rider?
Yes, absolutely.
Cal, you can go away for like
an hour ago. What did you say? I'm sorry.
I said, Cal, you can go away for like a half an hour because me and Michelle might have a whole show.
We could talk about our favorite Peloton instructors because we all have them, I'm sure. Oh, I love it every day. Seriously though, it is part of my mental health routine. And it's, there are days, as you probably know, that you don't want to do it. And those are the days that you need to do it. to just
Right.
get on that bike, you know, and ride or walk or whatever it is that you do. So, but no, I'm happy to be here and make time for this. It's, you know, today is, you know, World Mental Health Day. So what better day really to talk about this. So I'm honored.
Right.
Yeah. And the work you're doing for us, I was telling you earlier, I watch the posts. I can't get to every event. It's tireless. I cannot believe the effort that you all put in. And so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, it is the most amazing thing you're doing for us. And it is not, it's definitely taken to heart. And we really appreciate you.
It's definitely an honor for us. I can speak for Kyle and my Empress Frank and myself, that we don't take the decisions of who we raise money for lightly. When Frank and I were talking about beneficiaries before this year started, we realized that we would be working tirelessly, probably every weekend, multiple events in a weekend. And we said, we need organizations that are going to remind us during the year why we're doing this and why it's important. And mental health and suicide reduction and the work that y'all do definitely fit into that category. So how did you get started in this work? What prompted you?
Sure. Actually, they found me, but it was at a really good time in my life because I have a personal connection to our cause, as most of us do, unfortunately. At the time, though, so my connection has actually changed in the last few years. So when they approached me, I have several friends and family members who have struggled. Some of them have lived experience, meaning they've attempted before, and some of them just struggle with their own mental health. And I take care of them emotionally and always have. A good friend of mine, you know, I was with her for a year while she was in a hospital recovering, and it was just very emotional for me. But then since working here for 4 years, I did have a friend who did die by suicide. And so it's, you know, it's the most important work I've ever done. It's the hardest work I've ever done, but it's the most important work I've ever done because everyone has, as they say, everyone has mental health. You know, and you said earlier in your intro, the most important thing we can do, and when people ask me why I do what I do, it's for the reason that if I reach one person and let them know that it's okay to have anxiety. I had anxiety my entire life as a child. I know what that feels like. And I've had therapists tell me, oh, you're a theater major, you're charismatic, you like to talk in public. There's no way you have anxiety. I know how I feel, you know, and so at that age, I think I was 20, it was a long time ago. I decided never to talk about it for about 10 years. I was ashamed because I thought, well, I'm not the kind of person clearly that should have it. But then I found a different therapist, and it was actually cognitive CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, who really showed me what was going on in my brain. And I'm not a scientist or doctor or clinician, so I don't want to get too into it, but for me personally. And so I talk to anyone I can about that because it helped me. And I never have had suicidal ideation, I will say that. But I don't know what would have happened had I not had that support and had I not been brave enough to talk about it. And I found that I, at the time, was a woman working, I was working in the golf industry, so a lot of men, and it was hard to talk about your emotion. Sorry, not that men don't talk about emotion, but it was I was in sales, and it was very much about you do your job, you work 20 hours a day. And I started talking to some of the women that I came in contact with, and they all felt the same way, you know, and then we started a support group, and it goes on from there. So that's why I do what I do. So if one person hears me and says, it's okay, she's talking about it on Facebook, and who knows how many people are listening, you know, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely feel you on that one. And no, men aren't allowed to be emotional. And let's talk about it. I mean, I know that's I call it one of many queer superpowers that I have as a gay man, that I feel that I am more allowed to tap into my emotions, and I feel bad for other men that feel like they aren't allowed to do that for whatever reason. Because I'm gay, I'm allowed to be emotional and have feelings, but if any straight men are out there, straight women, gay women, whatever your identity is, you are allowed to feel however you are feeling, and it's 100% okay. But if it becomes dangerous, we want you to have resources, and we want you to know where to go. So tell us a little about what the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention does.
Sure. So, you know, I think we hit on it a little while ago. Our mission is simply to bring hope and to bring hope to people affected by suicide, and also to save lives. That is our big mission. So what we do, so AFSP is a national organization, and we operate over, I think right now we're at 72 chapters throughout the whole country. Connecticut has one. Some states that are bigger have more than one. And so we are here in the state of Connecticut, statewide, to raise awareness and raise funds, importantly, which is why you're doing what you're doing to help us. And those funds then are funneled back into education, advocacy. So we actually have an advocacy day here in Hartford in April or May. And then we also send a group to DC to advocate for things like the 988 number. I don't know if you've heard about that, but just like when you haven't, yeah, if you want to check that out, and I can send you more info for a link or something. So you know how when there's an emergency, you dial 911. Well, for years, AFSP and other organizations like ours, like, you know, the Porco Foundation, Brian Daigle Foundation, Connecticut Suicide Advisory Board, and the state, we've all been advocating for a 988 number. It's much easier than dialing 800, you know, the 800 numbers, especially when you're in crisis. So that I'm happy to report has passed some of the first legislation. So that's only due to the volunteers who have advocated for it. So and I am indebted to them, because without people going to Washington on our behalf, going to Connecticut and talking to legislators, and we have some amazing support. So those are some of the things we do. And then on the other side is the education piece. So we have, and it would take too long to talk about all of them, but we have at least 15 programs that start from third to fifth grade, which is our Gizmo program. It's a program that started here in Connecticut. We can talk to you about that. It's about mental health in kids. And then we have a teen program. And then we have multiple programs for the community, all of which we do for free, based on the generosity of organizations like yours. So money that's raised here literally stays here. So my message always is to people, you have a seat at our table at AFSP. We are volunteer run. There's one staff person in the whole state, and everyone else is a volunteer. Yeah, me. But everyone else, like, you'll meet Jen. She's amazing and has a full-time job doing something else, and yet devotes all of her time to AFSP. We're happy to come to the community and do our Talk Saves Lives program, which is, like you were talking about, it really is a way to reduce the stigma, to talk about mental health and suicide prevention in Connecticut. And so all of that's free.
Yeah, and it's one of the first questions that I asked you when we had our initial conversation, because people hear American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and everyone knows their name, and people wonder if they're just funding this random corporate being out there somewhere, and none of it comes back to us. So yes, everyone, if you are donating today, when we donate back into the AFSP Connecticut, the money is going into your community, and they are offering free services. So your money is paying for other people to get the help that they need. And so once again, Venmo at CT Imperial Court or ctimperialcourt.org/donate. And we promise you it's going to go to a good place, and the money is going to be used to help the lives of people every single day. So pandemic.
Yes.
I know you, and I'm not sure if you started the Peloton before the pandemic, but I bought a Peloton during the pandemic because I was going stir crazy in my house and I needed something to do. I know Kyle does some gardening to help with his kind of feelings and to cope through the days. But how have you seen your work change as we become isolated, as things are shutting down, as just how we interact with one another is changing?
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting that you asked that question, because here, I've always worked from home, so that wasn't a big transition, but the organization changed 100%. I stopped going out we couldn't do trainings. We had to learn Zoom. I'd never used it before. Now I could teach a class on it, and we've done over 500 presentations. I mean, not just myself, with Jen and other volunteers. So one of the things we learned how to deliver our programs, all of them virtually. There's one that we don't do virtually just for safety reasons. We like to be in the room with people. We get into some deeper dive into some issues that we really want to be in person. But for the most part, 99% of our programming is now done virtually. And we developed new programs. I think that's the biggest thing. We developed 2 new programs. One was literally self-care and COVID. And some of it seems like it would be obvious, like we're talking about Peloton, gardening, reading, whatever your version of self-care is. But what was really cool about it is that we got other people talking about it. We started, showing videos of people and other ways. And it just started people thinking outside the box. We also developed a program for teens, because we started realizing that teens was that one missing group, and also it's the second leading cause of death, nationally and in Connecticut, from 15 to 30. So is suicide. So we wanted to address that age group in a way that was sensitive to the age group. So we developed a program called It's Real, REAL, Mental Health in Teens. And it's, again, it's on Zoom, but we can do it in person. And it really engages that age group and their trusted adults. So it's their choice if they want to bring their parent, older sibling, teacher into the conversation. But we are set up to do it for groups. I've done it for groups of high school students, with the teacher out of the room. And it's really amazing how they open up when they're talking to one another and they see other people. And, Billie Eilish has a video that's in part of it. We did it with the Jed Foundation, the Ad Council. So it's a big program, part of our Seize the Awkward campaign. So really new programming came about. One thing, though, that's important to mention, you asked me what changed. What changed for me is that people started talking to me in ways they hadn't before, which was both really disheartening at first, but then it was also inspiring to me. And it got us able to know what kind of programming they wanted. So people who had said to me, I've never struggled, quote, never struggled with a mental health issue, suddenly were feeling it. Lost a job, maybe their spouse lost a job. They were home. And partners were home and they were fighting more, or relationships changed or ended. And so these were people that prior to maybe had been so busy. We get up every day, we have our routine, we go into our offices, and we don't realize that there's a mental health issue lingering there because we're so busy. And now in that year, once everyone had time to stop and breathe, things started happening. And so I started getting way more phone calls than I normally would. Which was, again, ended up being a blessing because new programming started because of that.
Right.
And again, it all comes back to having the conversation.
Right. Yeah, I would say that what was my biggest struggle when things started to slow down was going from a very busy life to Netflix and finding other outlets. So definitely. And one of the things that I appreciate about your organization especially is that you are doing programs for specific audiences. You mentioned that you're doing work for teens, and that's all very important right now. But as an LGBTQ organization, we also appreciate that you have done some focus work in our community because we are very disproportionately at risk based on life experiences and things that we go through. So from the Imperial Sovereign Court of all Connecticut, we just want to thank you once again for all of the work that you are doing and express how much of an honor it is to be working with y'all. We can't wait to talk to Jen a little bit later on.
I actually have to tell you about one other thing, if you have 2
Yeah,
seconds, because you just brought up so yeah, our main program is called Talk Saves Lives, and then we have modules that we have a senior module, we have an LGBTQ plus model that I was on the committee to create. So, and I think you were part of that. Were you on? I think you were on that Zoom that we did community. So here's a new thing that you don't know, which I'm happy to tell you today. So every year on the Saturday prior to Thanksgiving, it's the International Survivors of Loss Day. It's an international day where anyone who has lost someone to suicide, usually we get together in person. We're doing it virtually this year, but I am partnering with the same people who did the other one, the Buffalo chapter, to do a special LGBTQ plus Survivor Day. So that's in the works. Yep. And so I will be reaching out to you and your team to get a panel discussion going, because it's going to have to be a little different than it would be for our other groups. So I'd love to have your input on that. And anyone else who's listening who wants to be involved can reach out to me as well.
Yeah, 100%. We would love to be involved. Folks, if you are interested in getting involved, please reach out to me, or I'll make sure that I post Michelle's information on that and get the word out there when we start planning that. But 100%, thank you so much for everything that you are doing, Michelle.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It's a great opportunity. Thank you so much for having me today.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
That was amazing.
I love her. I mean, I remember calling her like a few months before the rain started when I was elected and I was looking for beneficiaries, and I was like, please let this person be an amazing person, because I love the cause. But some nonprofits out there, like the cause is great, but you don't know about the organization or where the money goes to. Right. But every experience I've had with her is just amazing. And literally, folks, when you donate the money and when we donate it to AFSP Connecticut, it does go back into your community.
One thing I will say is I wish I had programs like this when I was growing up. What she mentioned, absolutely amazing. We all have experienced our own mental health issues, and it's organizations like this who start from the bottom up, who do target certain organizations that really do need our help, because they're helping the next generation that's coming after us. So definitely a great choice and a beneficiary. I definitely applaud you for that.
Yeah, and it's great that we're having these conversations younger and younger, because it's affecting kids younger and younger, especially with social media and things like that. I know it affected me when I was a teenager. So I can only imagine being a teenager these days. So I kudos to them for all of the programming that they're doing. But without further ado, I want to intro your segment.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay.
Yeah, so Cal's Community Corner. Once again, we have Ahmed, who is an amazing activist for so many different causes around the community. I believe that you're going to talk to them about a lot of the work that they do. So I'm just going to go ahead and let the interview ride, and then we'll talk about it on the back end.
Absolutely. Enjoy, everyone. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Each one of us carries multiple identities, and so many of these identities intersect. It is this intersectionality that connects us. If we take the time to explore and embrace these intersecting identities, we will realize that we are more similar and connected than we are different. Together, we are stronger, we can move mountains, and we can build a better tomorrow. Here's a look at someone who strives to live by this motto. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Ahmed Abu Radeh. Hello, Ahmed. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for joining me. I hear that you're all the way out there in Ireland. It's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I read your intro. You are a well-versed person. Thank you for everything you do. So again, it is my absolute pleasure to have you here. I'm going to jump right into the questions because I'm really interested in picking your mind about the subject of suicidality. So tell me a little bit about your work in suicide prevention and suicidality. Can you explain to the people who are watching, what is suicidality?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I'll start with that second question and then kind of work my way to the work that I do. Suicidality is really either, it's just kind of the entire realm of just suicide, whether it's thoughts of suicide, whether it's different actions, whether it's a completion of suicide, but ultimately suicide itself, right, is just an end result, right, to various types of just challenges that individuals go through. And so suicidality would kind of be the entire all-encompassing realm of that. In terms of the work that I've kind of been doing, so I've been involved with suicide prevention for, I want to say about 12 years at this point. And so it was even prior to college where, yeah, so the way that I kind of got into it is actually just through my own experiences, like with living with suicidality for actually quite a while. I think it started about maybe 14 years ago, roughly. And it was really my own experiences, right, of recognizing that this wasn't a conversation that we were having. It wasn't something that it was really accessible to receive support for in various spaces. And most specifically, that it's not necessarily a conversation or something that we receive support for with different levels of intersectional identities, right? And so, like, for example, for me to go and like work with someone, I need somebody who's able to really understand like the transness and the queerness and the Muslim piece and the disability and so on and so forth. And that becomes really hard to come by. And so kind of started doing work from that point about 12 years ago. And it was really about individuals centering their own experiences, right? So having conversation that's much more personal of this is what I've lived through, right? Versus here's what suicidality is, right? Here's symptoms, here's this, here's that, although that's really important, but I really wanted to humanize the conversation. And so as I started college, that work kind of continued and started doing various mental health events and suicidality events and things like that to really center people's experiences. And it's really interesting of initially a lot of people were like, no one's ever going to talk about this, right? No one wants to have this conversation. No one's going to show up. And honestly, it ended up being some of the most successful events that we ever had on campus. And so since then, have kind of continued a lot of that work in terms of starting difficult conversations, in terms of really building spaces where we can have not only this conversation, but any conversation. And so I've worked with various nonprofits to kind of do that work, specifically specializing as a certified peer support specialist, and really working working with the most marginalized of the most marginalized around this. And more recently, I've been working as a consultant for equity and transformation. So kind of jumping into these various topics, coming up with different ways for us to have different conversations, to transform the spaces that we're a part of, and really just support us in having the support that we all need and deserve.
Gotcha. Thank you very much for that. Absolutely. Getting into this realm, I would say it does take some personal experience to really be able to touch other people. So I am one that can completely relate to you on that. Absolutely. So speaking about peer support, what is peer support?
Yeah, so peer support is really just individuals with lived experience supporting other people with lived experience. And it's just this model that kind of recognizes that every single human being, regardless of who we are, regardless of our challenges, regardless of anything, every single one of us needs support at one point or another, right? And we're all capable of providing that support. And so it basically just makes it a very personable, very neutral experience of really just individuals with certain lived experience supporting others with lived experience. In a lot of spaces, that's usually kind of reserved for the realms of mental health and substances. But there's kind of been a push more recently, and this kind of goes to the radical roots of peer support, that really also honor that for like a queer individual living with suicidality, it might be best for a queer individual who has lived through suicidality to be the right person to support. And that goes for various identities. And so it becomes a much deeper, for me at least, right, way of really connecting with individuals and really just recognizing that none of us are ever alone, that we've all, that a lot of us have gone through this and we're all capable of moving beyond it.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. You founded an organization called Life in My Days. What kind of, well, actually, I jumped on your website. I love the website. I know what you do, but explain to us what you do and what do you focus on in terms of your work?
Awesome. Yeah. So I founded Life in My Days, I think about 5 years ago now. And I ended up leaving last year just to kind of allow the organization to grow on its own. But the organization was really founded to really do a lot of the things that I had just mentioned, right? Of building spaces of belonging for individuals and really just supporting individuals and their communities on their journeys for self-actualization. So the model that we kind of utilized, and it was kind of founded on principles of peer support, but it was this model of recognizing that every single person is going to be different on their own journeys for self-actualization. And so really being mindful of that and recognizing that the vast majority of individuals, especially the most marginalized of the most marginalized, don't necessarily have space for a lot of this. And so we would we'd create our own spaces, right? Run different like fellowships, do open mic nights, things like that, art galleries, and we would also support communities in doing that themselves as well, right? Because we recognize that we can't do this on our own, and there's so much interest, right, and capabilities of different groups kind of doing this on their own as well. And so many groups are already doing it. And so our model was also, how do we support you so that you can get there so we don't have to do it everywhere? Because that was never our intent. It just, we want to make sure that people have access to these things and recognize that we're not going to be able to do that for everyone.
Gotcha. There is an unfortunate phenomenon called shaming. How is shaming detrimental in terms of suicidality and seeking mental health care? Something I've actually experienced myself. So please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've actually done a lot of soul searching and kind of reflecting on shame more recently over the last few years. And that's always been kind of like a really large area of the work that I would do, right? In terms of like, how do we communicate things outside of that realm, right? Where we're not making individuals feel as if there is something wrong with them, right? Because that's really what shaming is that it makes us feel like I am the problem, right? It's not that I'm living with suicidality. It's that I have something wrong with me, right? Suicidality is just there on the side, right? Or depression or substances or whatever it is. And that's definitely detrimental when it comes to the realm of mental health, when it comes to individuals with marginalized identities. And so it's definitely detrimental in a lot of different ways. that soul searching I was kind of reflecting on over the last couple of years, honestly, is really thinking in terms of when can shame be utilized in really healthy and positive ways, right? Because we look at it as an individual kind of like, let's say a harmful individual, right? For us to really dig deeper into like where that harmful intent is kind of coming from, we really want to go to that deeper level, right? And kind of support individuals' transformation. And so I really wish that we had more spaces of, in addition to shaming less, I really wish we had more spaces to learn how to navigate shame and how do we utilize that as a way for transformation versus as a way that destroys us, which unfortunately becomes kind of the core narrative, and no one really teaches us, well, how do we actually utilize this? Because it's still something that's inherent within us, right? It comes, it's an emotion, it's a way of feeling. And to me, we can use any of those things, right, for transformation. And so I would love conversations to go in that direction as well.
So you pretty much answered my next question, was what can we do as a society to support people who may be encountering suicidal thoughts or suicidal actions? So I appreciate that as well. So you are a world traveler and you're an author. How do other countries and cultures handle or perceive suicidality? And what are some of the things that we can adopt here to help end the shaming and encourage people to speak about themselves so that they can be supported amongst us, if that makes sense?
It does, absolutely. And I love that question, because I think the assumption is usually that in the US, that's the best possible kind of like care and things like that. And the way that we look at mental health is better than everyone else in the world. And that's not always necessarily true. And it's interesting to have worked in various places around the world. And it's really just different types of conversations that individuals would have and different ways of speaking about it. And so in a lot of other places, they'll still have the conversations, just not necessarily in the same kind of language or wording and philosophies and things like that. But there's always so much space for it. And so some of the best places that I've worked in that have a much better outlook, whether they have conversations around suicidality or not, are the spaces that have systems of support, right? Where the community comes together whenever challenges arise and they celebrate together whenever good things happen, right? And when you look at rates of suicidality and individuals dying and things like that, it's such a huge difference, right, between communities that are more community-centric, where people are accepted for everything that they are, right? I'm not talking about like like communities that shun you and things like that, but that where there is that acceptance versus spaces that don't have that. The rates are enormous, especially when it comes to younger individuals. So it's definitely a huge difference. I would just say support, right? Of just having spaces where we can be fully accepted for everything that we are, and just sitting there, right, and listening to people versus being like, this is wrong and this is this and this is that. That by itself is enormous, and a lot of spaces kind of have that.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. So, of course, I like to ask every one of my guests this final question. If you had a magic wand, you could change one law, one challenge, or one mindset. What would it be? What would you change to make the world a better place?
Yeah, I think I'll just go with a really quick mindset, right? And it's this idea that if you're experiencing suicidality or mental health challenges or substances or any kind of challenge, right, that it's the end of the world, that there's nothing outside of that, and that we can never actually move forward. And I'll often get told from individuals where I'll be like, I have X mental health challenge, and they'll be like, oh, well, you're functioning, and so you don't. And it's like, no, actually, a lot of us function, right? That's never been
exactly. Yes.
And so just changing that, I think, would be enormous.
Absolutely. You can function in a world and still have different ailments, quote unquote, and still be high functioning. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Absolutely. Well, Ahmed, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with me. Your insight is amazing.
Yes, I love it.
Ahmed is an amazing person. They truly are.
Yeah,
they truly are.
Such a great interview. I really love the points about the importance of seeing each other as human beings and the peer support aspect and that shaming aspect, and how we all can have such a great impact on each other for good or for bad. So let's try to make it for good, right?
Absolutely.
And on that last piece of it, the high functioning piece, I think it's so important to remember.
It is very important to remember because a lot of people don't realize that you can be high functioning and still have quote unquote issues that you're dealing with. A person may have severe depression, or maybe suffering from bipolar disorder or some type of other mood disorder, and still be able to accomplish their tasks of their tasks of daily living, but come home and still not feel complete. We really should open the door for everyone, those that are high functioning, those that are not, of course.
Right. Everyone experiences it differently. So don't make assumptions. Reach out to people, even if, it looks like they're doing great and they're doing fabulous. They may be waiting for that one person to reach out to them and see if they're okay. Be that one person.
Just be that one person. Say hello.
Yep, it's super simple. So once again, folks, we are raising money for 3 amazing beneficiaries today: A Place to Nourish Your Health in New Haven, the New Haven Pride Center, and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. 3 organizations that save lives every single day. If you want to give us a donation, you can do so in 2 different ways. You can either go to Venmo at CT Imperial Court, or you can go to ctimperialcourt.org/donate and do it via PayPal or credit card. So we hope that you're able to support these amazing organizations. They put the money to good use. And without further ado, we have one more special guest from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So please welcome to your virtual screens a board member and a chair of the Hartford Out of the Darkness Walk, Jen Navu. Hi. Thank you for joining us.
So excited to be here with you.
Oh my goodness.
Very excited.
So glad. So we talked to Michelle earlier. She is an amazing human being. And I remember my first board meeting that she invited me to sit in on, and it was the most powerful icebreaker that I've ever been a part of. And all they literally asked was, hi, introduce yourself and how you got involved with ASFP, or like your connection with ASFP. And it was like 20 minutes of like all tears from me. So I think it's really important to know how people get into this work and the paths that they followed. So what started you on your journey to be a board member of the organization?
So I have struggled with mental illness my whole life, but between the years of 2011 and 2014, I ended up with both of my daughters with lived experience. And then I lost my former father-in-law and a close friend of mine to suicide.
I mean, so sorry to hear that. And unfortunately, it's a more common experience that I feel like many of the folks realize. I think there are some people out there that think that suicide only happens to certain people or affects certain populations. But it's non-discriminatory. I mean, there are populations that have higher risk factors, but it affects all areas of life and all types of people, for sure.
Absolutely.
So we are glad that y'all are doing so much to raise awareness. And I know one of the key mechanisms that you use are the Out of the Darkness walks. So can you tell us about, I guess, the mission of the walks, how they were started, kind of like the feel and kind of the general vibe of what folks would get if they attended one?
So our walks are these amazing events. I attended my first one in 2014, and while you would expect nothing but sadness and grief, there is absolutely that aspect, but there's absolutely this overwhelming sense of hope when you attend one, and connection with people who understand where you are and where you're going. Just the most amazing thing I walked away with from my very first walk. And then in 2015, I began getting involved. So the walks differ from area to area. We've had 6 scheduled for this year. This coming, like he's mentioned, the 16th will be the Hartford area walk. And then the following weekend will be the Fairfield County walk. And that'll wrap up our walk season. You can expect a lot of support from those around you. Like I said, people who know what you're going through. Connections with other organizations that also help support AFSP that will be there tabling events at the event. Information on contacts through American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and the programs we offer. Very often there's a support dog there. There's different activities for hope and healing. We have a very traditional one for the Hartford Walk where you walk with a rock with the name of your lost loved one or the reason you're there through the walk. And then at the end of the walk, we have a little ceremony where they're cast into the river where we walk into the Connecticut River.
Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. I will probably be in tears at that moment. So that is great. It will be my first time attending one of these walks, and I'm super excited. So there will be a contingency from the Imperial Sovereign Court of Law, Connecticut, there on October 16th, next Saturday. Our Imperial Crown Princess Bonnie Petite has been absolutely killing it on the fundraising side. And if you would like to donate to our team, we posted the link of it in the event discussion for today's CT Connection. So Team 22 is going to be walking and volunteering at the walk next weekend. And if you want to support us out there, definitely go to those donation links and click them and make a donation to this amazing organization. Can you give folks a little bit more details if they wanted to attend the walk or check out when it's happening?
Oh, absolutely. So if you go to afsp.org and click on the link to the community walks, you can look up the Connecticut Walk. So we'll be in Hartford at Great River Park. Be there like 8:30 for registration. Bring some money because we do raffles, all kinds of fun things like that.
Yeah, and just be ready to have a great time and support each other. No, I think that's all the information that they need. So yeah, definitely afsp.org. Look up the local walk, and you will see a bunch of Connecticut members out there. And if you see us, definitely come over and say hi. And we would love to meet folks out there. Another great thing that AFSP provides are resources, and I know there are probably some folks out there that may be struggling or have friends or family that are struggling with mental health or suicide. What resources do y'all work with at the AFSP Connecticut that folks can utilize if they are struggling or going through hard times?
So there is the 1-800 number or the 988 number. They can call at any time. There's a talk to text line, and there are separate ones for veterans, for LGBTQ+, for teens, whatever you need that you can, if you're not comfortable talking to somebody, you can text, where so many youth are more comfortable doing that. Honestly, I'm more comfortable doing that. And I'm not quite a teen anymore. We have support groups for those who have suffered loss, that the volunteers to that are trained. My co-chair for this walk, Sherry, she runs one of the support groups in the area. She lost her partner, I think it was 16 years ago. So we have the education programs where we've gone into schools. We can do it virtually. We'll meet you wherever you want, whether it's a church, a park, whatever, and teach you the signs and ways to get help and more information on how to further educate yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been on your websites and I have been on your Facebook, and they are both amazing resources that are kept up to date. So you can find them at AFSPCT on Facebook, and then afsp.org, and then you can scroll to the Connecticut chapter there on their website. If you need further details and resources, they definitely keep them up to date. And I just kind of want to round this conversation with kind of just like a personal back and forth on I know you mentioned that you have dealt with mental health and things. I definitely have. I know how we've had previous discussions, but kind of like what ways do we use and what tools do we use in order to keep our mental health, and so Cal, do you want to kind of kick us off on kind of strategies or things that or resources that you have in your daily life?
Yeah, so for quite a long time, it actually took me quite a bit to find a really good therapist who I went and saw for quite a long time. I've fallen off of it now because I'm in a better place now, of course, all thanks to her wonderful help. But of course, it's finding someone. I always believe in finding someone that you can really finding someone that you can really trust. If it takes you 5 different therapists, it's well worth it. Make the change. Find someone that you like. I remember utilizing the crisis hotline when I needed to. Of course, I do a lot of grounding too. So if I'm stressed out or if I have something that's overwhelming me, I will feel the area. I will level myself. I will ground myself. Run water over my hands. Drink something cold, and just kind of talk to myself and just tell myself, "I'm here. I'm here. It's okay. Come back and level yourself out." If that's what you're referring to.
No. Those
Yeah.
are all great things. My support network was more organic, and I feel very super fortunate that both my biological and my chosen family have had people in it where I do feel comfortable talking to them about most anything and everything. So it comes in many forms. Like some folks have formal therapists, and some folks have informal points of contact to reach out to. But like for me, I guess mine has always been music and performance, which I guess segued into being an emperor and performing well. I remember being like that awkward kid that didn't really know who he was. And I found that if I was other people for a little while, I could find what parts of their fit into my own, and that helped me figure out what my identity was. So I just watched the Dear Evan Hansen movie, and there were like so many parallels to my life that I couldn't even handle it. But yeah, like finding music that really connects me, like just puts me in a better place and allows me to validate the feelings that I have. So that's probably my main outlet. Jen, do you have any main outlets for yourself?
So while I don't see a therapist, I do take an antidepressant every day. It's important for people to, recognize that if this is what their doctor recommends, it's for a reason. Some of us are just going to have a chemical imbalance that's going to need some intervention that way. Otherwise, I have an amazing support group with friends, and over the years, we have definitely learned to be very open about the conversation regarding mental health and how we're all doing. And then going for a hike. Something about being out in the woods just puts me at so much peace. With somebody or by myself, it grounds me, centers me.
Yeah.
It clears my head and brings me back to me.
That's beautiful. Well, folks, so you have 3 different people on the screen that are dealing with mental health in 3 different ways. So just remember that there are different options out there for you. And just because one doesn't work or one isn't working right now, doesn't mean that something else might not. And there are always people that are out there to help. It's all about finding the right ones and who works for you, and remembering that suicide is a permanent problem for a very temporary problem. So find the things that work for you. Jen, I want to thank you once again on behalf of the Imperial Sovereign Court of all Connecticut for all the work that you do. We can't wait to be a part of the walk next week, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. We are so excited to see you there next weekend.
All right. We'll see you soon. Oh, gosh. I mean, this show's all about the feels today.
You're killing me.
Oh gosh. Yes, Frank. You see what happens when you leave the show? All the crying that you're normally responsible for, like me and Kyle have to pick up on the emotions.
I need a fan.
But so good to see my Empress tuning in. We definitely do miss you. So as me and Kyle collect our emotions, Kyle, do you want to introduce our special performance for today?
It is the wonderful Monarch 20, Miss Kiki Lucia, and a beautiful video she put together. Absolutely amazing. So,
Don't look at me. Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly it's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure from all the pain. I'm so ashamed. I am beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can't bring me down. I am beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring me down. Oh, no. So don't you bring me down today. To all your friends, you're delirious, so consumed in all your doom. Trying hard to fill the emptiness, the piece is gone. Left the puzzle undone and I go away. 'Cause you are beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down. No, no. 'Cause you are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring you down. Oh, no. So don't you bring me down today. No matter what we do, no matter what we do, no matter what we do, no matter what we say. Yeah, oh yeah. And everywhere we go, and everywhere we go, always on the other side. 'Cause we are beautiful, no matter what they say. Yes, words won't bring us down. No, no. We are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can bring us down. Oh, no. So don't you bring me down today. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah. Don't you bring me down today. Don't you bring me down today.
So multi-talented. I mean, like, think about it, people. Like, that amazing performance and that amazing performer is also running all the behind-the-scenes technology for CT Connection.
amazing. How many
Um,
hats do you wear, producer? How many hats?
I mean,
You said
I
no.
haven't had the cooking yet, but I hear they're also a very talented chef.
Let me tell you, got some weights to say yes to that one. Got some pounds over here.
So thank you so much, Kiki Lucia, for that performance. If you enjoyed it, you can definitely throw us a donation on Venmo at CT Imperial Court. And or you can go to ctimperialcourt.org/donate. Yes, she cooks. Yes, she cooks. And it all looks delicious. How's the new grill working out? Good?
Good, good. Yes, I had. I showed her how to set it to the cleaning, so it's good.
Okay.
But he is bombing it out. It's delicious food every day. Absolutely love it. It was pretty easy to put together, but it's even easier for him to actually operate. So I'm happy.
And even easier for you to eat the food.
Even that's where I come in. I got to make sure the food is perfect.
So we do have our auction. So it's starting off at the low price of $20. And we are auctioning off a Rain 22 package. Starting off with this shirt, which is the official Rain 22 shirt. This is no longer in print. So it's currently the only place that you can get it. It's
limited edition.
But you know, if you're not an extra large, I'm sure you can find uses for it. You can wear it to sleep or as a crop top, depending. So that's our lovely Rain logo in the front, and on the back we have our Team 22. So currently out of print, and it may be coming back later in the year. But something not coming back later in the year is the Rain 22 water bottle. It's an aluminum water bottle in the Rain colors, red bottle, white logo, black lid. So you will not see this anywhere again. It is not being reprinted. So for the low price of $20, you can get your own. And we have our first bid of $20. Thank you, Steven Sears. So $20. It's a really cheap sell for this bottle alone that is never coming back. Never coming back.
It looks really durable too.
It's super durable. It's super lightweight. It's made to fit on a bike if you're a biker. And most people who have this water bottle are from our Bike for a Life challenge that we had earlier this year and had to ride 200 miles for it. So you can get it along with a t-shirt for $20. And $25 from Kiki Lucia. Kiki, this will be sure to hold anything you need, so you can keep hydrated while you're staffing the grill. So a rain shirt and a water bottle, folks. For $25 right now. So definitely bid and bid up, because once again we are raising money for amazing beneficiaries, AP&H, the New Haven Pride Center, and just want to give a shout out to our two amazing guests today from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Michelle Peters, their area director for Connecticut, and Jen Vu, who is their board person, and they also are a chair of their Hartford Walk, which is happening next Saturday. So thank you to the both of them. So we are really trying to raise money for this great organization and our Rain beneficiaries. Current bid is at $25 for this water bottle and this beautiful Rain 22 t-shirt. I wear mine all the time. People do recognize it now, so it's definitely a conversation starter. So definitely $25 is going to be a good steal. And Kyle, we want to also thank your guest.
Thank you, Ahmed. Yes, Ahmed is an amazing person. They are an amazing person, really, truly are. There's so much to them that they have to offer that literally I'd be here reading for 20 minutes just to kind of give you a backdrop of who they are. So just for them taking their time out of the schedule when they're traveling across the world and the work they do across 4 different continents, just to sit down and talk to us, absolutely amazing. So
I mean, the first line of their bio alone, Ahmed is a disabled, trans, queer, Muslim, indigenous Palestinian focused on creating transformative work around displacement, decolonization, equity, and centering lived experience of individuals most impacted by injustice. I'm like, that's most people's entire bio. and there's like 2 more paragraphs to his. That's just like the teaser line. Oh gosh, yeah, they are an amazing person, and so lucky to have them. So we're gonna keep this auction open for just another couple of minutes. The high bid right now from Kiki Lucia is $25 for this amazing Rain 22 water bottle.
Oh, Ahmed also got a Dorothy Award. I forgot to mention.
Ahmed also got a Dorothy Award
presented by the New Haven Pride Center, which is also one of our beneficiaries. So
Yes, yes, and that's one of my favorite things that the New Haven Pride Center actually does. Is one, they really do have an appreciation for our community. One, in how many artists that they support by paying them for their arts and services, which a lot of organizations do not, and two, by highlighting the amazing individuals in our community through the Dorothy Awards and through all their programming online. So kudos to everyone at the New Haven Pride Center that is really highlighting our community and giving them the respect that they deserve. 100%.
And paying the artists that are in. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. They gave out a couple grand. They paid local artists a couple grand at the New Haven Pride. Absolutely.
Right.
So, yes.
One more minute, folks. Your Rain 22 t-shirts with the lovely dragon surrounding the ruby red slippers, also featured on this Rain 22 water bottle. So $25, and it could be yours. Actually, $26 because Kiki has the high bid right now. Steven Sears coming in at $30. Steven, this is gonna look great on you if Patrick does not outbid you in the next 30 seconds.
I want that water bottle, Patrick. And
Steven
the shirt, of course.
is one of our amazing members. They have been doing floral arrangements for the rain, which look beautiful. And I really appreciate that because I love the bar shows and I love being out in the community, but I also love the good old-fashioned let's sell something fundraiser. 35 from what I assume is Patrick Dunn behind the Imperial Sovereign Court of all Connecticut account. Stephen, do we have 40? Do we have $40, Stephen? We are gonna give Stephen a 10-second countdown before we close out. I'm gonna make it a slow 10 because of Facebook lag. 10. It's great to be here. 9. We love seeing you. 8. Thank you for being. Oh, $40 from Steven Sears. It was just slow enough. Do we have 45? 10.
I want that water bottle.
Kyle wants the water bottle. 9. He may not be getting it. 8, but it was still a great show. 7. Thank you, AFSP. 6. Thank you, Ahmed. 5. Thank you, everyone, for watching. 4. I'm running out of things to say. 3. The countdown is ending. 2. Do we have a winner? And 1. I believe we do have a winner. The last one I am seeing is Steven Sears.
Yay, Steven!
$30. Steven, you will get this at the Monarchs Ball. We are so excited to see you then. Once again, Monarchs Ball next weekend, October 16th. Tickets on sale for $40 at imperialcourtct.org. 6 p.m. at Real Artways. Kyle, so Frank isn't here to sing us out. So I have planned a little bit of a boy band moment, if you're willing. So our next CT Connection is October 24th, where we will be highlighting LGBTQ plus politicians in the state of Connecticut. So we hope to see you back then. Our Empress, Miss Frank, will be back. We can't wait to have her. And without further ado, the boy band that you never knew that you needed. Here we go.
Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye. I'm doing this tonight. You're probably gonna start a fight. I know this can't be right. Hey, baby, come on. I loved you endlessly, and you weren't there for me. So now it's time to leave and make it alone. I know that I can't take no more. It ain't no lie. I wanna see you out that door, baby. Bye, bye, bye. I don't wanna be a fool for you. Just another player in your game or two. You may hate me, but it ain't no lie. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of CT Connection.
Bye, everyone.